Welcome once again to the J Lowe Artist YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me on this artistic journey. And today we'll be working with colored pencils. So you'll need your number 2 or HB pencil, kneaded eraser, and some good quality colored pencils. So let's begin. Thanks for joining me again. All right. Thanks for being here and thanks for willing to draw with color. We're going to kind of limit ourselves to our colors, but just kind of have your colors ready to go. Your kneaded eraser and that vinyl click eraser. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. But it's always good to have out. So we're going to start with our number 2 pencil. First thing we get to do is we get to figure out where everything goes. He's kind of square. If you wanted to do this horizontally, you're welcome to. Vertical fits in my window better, so I'll do it vertically. But it's up to you how you want to do it. Remember that a good composition comes close to or touches 3 of the 4 sides. Let's get him kind of smaller. I'm going to probably add some of this grass and his feet and stuff in there to kind of give myself a little bit of verticalness. I'm just going to start out with where I want his body. This big old shape here. There's his body. I'm going to leave a little bit of space on the left for his head and his tail. I want it to come out and touch this edge right here, almost right up into there. So I want it that big. That's his tail. His little feet's going to come down in here. His wing will come down there towards the bottom. And I might scrunch him just a little bit. Maybe I'll go off the page a little bit with his tail. And then his little head, about right up in there somewhere. Okay, once you've established where everything is, and then start kind of looking at it and going, okay, is this too big, too small? Do I need to go back, add more to it, whatever it is? Adjusting it until you're happy with it, until it looks about right. I am not going to draw every individual feather. It's not important if these feathers are perfectly symmetrical or whatever, but I am going to just draw some lines to kind of tell me where they start and stop. You know, give myself a little guideline there because they're all kind of even. I do want it to be fairly even. This turkey looks much larger than he probably really is. All those feathers. Oh, but lots of color in here. This will be fun. So I'm just taking those little sections and sectioning them off so that I can kind of see where things are. And again, it's not important if you're following everything exactly. So remember that everything here has to be erased eventually, because we don't want it mixing with our colors, especially our lighter colors like yellows or orange. The graphite will mix with that and really look kind of ugly. So in order to get rid of that, I'm going to do a little drawing on top of my drawing here with color. And you can use whatever color you want to. I'm going to use purple. Now you can use, if you wanted to, you could use black. like you would ink. And sometimes I do. I use just black. But today I'm feeling kind of purple. And just remember, color is not as important as value. So his head is really light up there. There's an area right there that I'd probably just leave out. So as I start, you can start wherever you want to. I'm going to start with the eye. So this is my purple pencil. I'm just kind of doing this little rounded shape. The top part of his eye is kind of cut off there. And I'm drawing it like I would with ink. Kind of dots and dashes. A little here, a little there. Don't be afraid to leave things out. Now the cool thing about pencil is you can shade with it. And a little bit of pressure will give you a little darker value with your pencil. So just a little bit here and there. Just any place that I feel like is dark. If this were ink, this is kind of how I would be drawing it. And let me zoom into his head so we can see what's going on in that little head of his. There we go. So that very light part of his head that's up in there, I need a little bit of that. But not all of it. So I'm going to leave some of that out if I can. There's a little bit there, maybe a little bit over there. But a lot of that I can just try and leave out. Again, we can just use little dots and dashes. Oh, turkeys are strange birds, aren't they? You know, all that skin that's around their head and draping off their beak. It's kind of crazy. Don't be too many lines. You know, I think that's the biggest problem that a lot of people have when they draw is they just do too much line. Keep it simple. So if I were to get rid of this graphite that I've got over there, my pencil is going to stay, the graphite's going to go. Just remember, there's a lot of the, especially the edges, a lot of edges that you can leave out. One of your first inklings when you're thinking about turkey is to do everything with brown. That's what we've done all through grade school and everything. Teacher around Thanksgiving says, draw a turkey, and it's all brown. But if you look at it, is that turkey brown? He's got purples and oranges. I mean, there's lots and lots of colors. The problem is that when we use all those complementary colors and they mix in our eye, they turn brown. So I'm not going to use brown in here. I'm going to use all these colors and just let them do their thing. And hopefully they're going to do the same thing in our eye that they do on the turkey. Mix and kind of look brown, but yet with lots of color. All those vibrant, beautiful colors. If you want to do some of this texture in there, it's kind of like fish scales, feathers are. You can do these like little curves like this, and then a little curve in between. Think brick or fish scale, or you just kind of start out with a curve and then do one in between. And again, it's not important if all those feathers are in the right place. What's important is that the size and the composition. And the further you get away from the head, like anything else, you can kind of get a little more sketchy. Lighten up a little bit. And you don't need every feather, just enough to show the texture. Just like we did when we were drawing with ink and did brick and rock and water. Just need enough. See what I'm doing down here? Just doing enough that you know what it is without having to do every last one. Just pick a few. Once we start throwing in color, the other feathers will come through too. Does this remind you of doing ink? So again, I'm not doing every little feather. I'm just kind of doing the pattern I see. Nobody's counting feathers. Don't be afraid to leave things out. Just let them go. And it's kind of like scribbling. What do we call it? Scribbling with purpose. Y'all see wild turkeys around these days? Yeah, so around here they introduced them, 10 years ago or so, and Now they're going crazy. There's turkeys everywhere. I thought with all the raccoons and foxes that we have around here that they wouldn't propagate so quickly. Wife and I were hiking up in the canyon, and I could hear them and I couldn't see them, and I looked up, they were in the trees up there. Just a whole bunch of them. So with what I'm doing here, I'm just trying to go in the direction that those feathers are kind of flowing and just leave things out. Nobody cares if those feathers are perfectly right on. But you'd use your scrap as inspiration. I am almost ready to erase the entire thing and get rid of my graphite. That nice purple color will be left behind as my guide. Because it's all about learning and practice. These feathers remind me of stacked shingles. I don't know if you've ever put shingles on an old house, but they stack them up against the house, and that's what they look like. Just doing these little guidelines here. These are going to kind of help me figure out where my stripes go. It's kind of like a little X. I kind of go this way, and I'll come this way, and just kind of look at some of those little stripy patterns. And that just helps me to figure out where to put those little patterns in as I go. So I've just put this little grid pattern in there, and then I just come in with my stripes. That kind of keeps me going in the right direction. As well, it kind of gives it that kind of feathery patterned look. Then he's standing in grass, and I'll just going to put a couple of little lines up here. These are those feathered lines, just to say, well, there's grass here, and if I do green on top of this purple, it's going to look just fine. So just a little line to say, you know, you need some ground. You need a little bit of ground line there. And he's got a shadow. Maybe not much of a shadow because it looks overcast, but got to have something dark in there. Just enough. Just enough. Now I want to get rid of all my graphite. Any graphite I had in there, got to get rid of it. That purple will stay there. Not all of it, but most of it. And the graphite goes. You guys know how to clean your eraser, right? Kind of like this. So now, with all the graphite gone, I am confident that my colors are going to be vibrant and beautiful. I do, however, need some contrast. I need some dark, dark, dark areas. So the darkest color we have, we just used. It's probably purple or maybe blue. Therefore, in order to get some really dark darks, we're going to have to use black. This is like the one and only time I use black. I will do lots of other colors on top of the black, but I need that black for the contrast. So if everything's working out here, I can go ahead and just add some black to the very, very darkest areas. So here goes. Here's his eye. I'm going to leave out that light area. I don't know if I see that light area very well. I mean, there is a little bit in there. I just know there's got to be a little bit of a highlight in there. Everybody has one, whether you're a turkey or not. So I'm just in that little eye, I've left just a little bit of light. I'll go back into that with some blue or purple because it's not real bright. It's not that bright. And then I just want to hit some of the areas that are the darkest. I'm not going to go over everything that I did with the purple, just the darkest areas. Because I need that little bit of contrast. And you kind of pick and choose if you think, oh, that's really dark. And if it's not so dark, maybe don't press as hard. Okay, that's going to help my little turkey to jump off the page. He just needs that little bit of contrast. It's interesting because when you do the purple, you think, oh, that's dark. That's looking really good. Then you start other colors. You're like, oh, not dark enough. That needed to go more. I don't know if we just get used to seeing something or if our eyes adjust. I really am just kind of scribbling. I'm just following kind of the darks that I see and just scribbling them in. And I'm not really sticking close to what I'm just using it as a inspiration. There are times when I'll really stick close to what I see, but for the most part, most things I draw doesn't matter. People don't compare your scraps side by side to your drawing anyway. So you just do your best. I think this little thing's called a beard. So here at the bottom here where all these feathers are, I have no idea what's going on with those feathers. So I'm just doing that same kind of brick pattern with my pencil here, just sketching them in. Not really concerned if it's perfect, as long as it's close. I always add quite a bit of pressure to this when I'm doing the black, because I know that other colors going on top are going to just blend in with it and create that value I need. Boy, there's a lot of texture in here that's created by the use of this value and color. Also, if I wasn't quite right, which I wasn't, I can adjust from here. So I can add more feathers or whatever needs to be adjusted. And that purple will be lost. I mean, if you have to adjust, nobody's going to see that purple. But the black, they'll see. So the black is your commitment. I really am just scribbling this in as fast as I can go. Because this part, as important as it is, it's not the color part. It's not the fun part. but we have our structure in there. All right, then you just start adding color like crazy. I'm going to try this the sky blue. That kind of looks like the same kind of blue that's in his face. So I'm just going to go into that. I'm going to go over his eye, over the black. If it is fairly light, I'm going to leave it out. But if it's not, I'm going to just put some of that in there. Over the top of the purple, I'm going to still try to get some of that texture. We're going to get some magenta, some purple in there too. I'm just scribbling in color. And you just put it where you feel like you need to put it. I mean, all turkeys are a little different. So I'm going to just work on his head for a little bit while I'm zoomed in here. And discard some of this color for that magenta. Magenta is kind of a pinky looking, it's actually more of a red violet. So it's kind of like this, kind of a pinky reddish. But that magenta is going to go over that blue. And where you hit the blue, it'll look kind of like a rosy purple. And where it's over the white, it's going to go kind of red pink. What's really cool is when you get kind of yellow or orange over the top of that. And that, it really does look really pretty. The more color you just layer into this, the prettier it's going to be. So just in the back of your mind, just tell yourself, I'm going to layer color in like crazy. Now some of that red that's down in his neck is kind of warmer than this. So I might add a little orange into there. I'm just using little circles because it's kind of bumpy in there. And some of those little circles I just leave out. But it's like drawing clouds. You can go over any color you feel like you need to go over. This is that sky blue that we used before. I just didn't get enough of it up in there. You can use that magenta over any of that you think you need to. So you look at it and you think, oh, I like that color. Maybe I want to put that more of that up into the feathers. Totally up to you where you want to put it. I do want to, just in the head, I'm going to take some of this yellow orange. It's called yellow orange. It looks more orange to me than yellow, but I'm going to add some of that to it to just warm it up. It'll turn that magenta kind of a warm red. Any of that blue that it goes over, it'll negate the blue, but it might even get a little bit of green in there. And that's okay. I just want to warm up some of that. It not a lot and not everywhere, just wherever I want to put it. See how that just warmed that right up and added a whole different variety of color. And if you did a little bit over the blue, it's okay. It'll tone it down. It'll make it look a little gray. And if you're getting a little green, that's okay too. Bob Ross says that those are happy accidents. Maybe a little bit of blue or violet. This is just violet. Now, if the violet gets over some of the orange, it's okay. It'll turn it kind of gray. If it gets over some of the blue, it'll go a little more on the blue-violet side. But from here on out, we're going to be getting colors that we really didn't anticipate, but that's okay. They're happy accidents. But really, you can use whatever color you feel like using. As long as you stay with your values, it's going to be good. I'm going to use some of this purple down in the reddish area. See if I can't get some of those darker areas to come back. Last but not least in that area, and you can use this all over the place, this red-orange makes a great red. It's really warm, and so it's going to bring out some of the reds. Over the top of the purple, it'll go a little more on the red side. Over the top of the yellow, it'll go a little warmer. Over the blue, it might go a little brown or a little golden kind of color. So again, we're starting to get colors that we just didn't think about it, but try to keep your values correct and you got it. Just scribbling those colors. Now I'm going to take that yellow orange, I'm going to mix it just about everywhere. Take that yellow orange and just all over the place because I see a lot of it in there. I'm going to go over the top of the purple, over the top of the black. And I'm just going to throw it in wherever I feel like I need to. Try to get some of that texture out there too. You guys heard that Ben Franklin wanted our national bird to be a turkey? Ben Franklin was a very practical kind of guy, and he's like, well, turkeys, you know, they saved our lives, and they're big birds, and everybody else is like, no, we don't want to be represented by a turkey. I sometimes wonder if Ben Franklin didn't do things just as kind of a joke. The guy was really smart, but I think he played a lot with people's minds. So really, I've just been adding color like crazy. I like the orange, so maybe I'm going to go in with some orange here, or some of that yellow orange. Go back in with some of that yellow orange. Oh no, that was red orange. That was red orange, but that's okay because I'm going to do yellow orange on top of that, or with it. Yep. And if you wanted to, you just go over it with yellow because yellow will mix with the red and become orange anyway. I'm going to hit some more light blue in there, this sky blue. There's a lot of that up in here. What are you going to get if you hit the orange with that blue? What color are you going to get? Kind of a brownish, yeah. So don't be afraid of that. It kind of looks brown anyway. Yeah, this is that sky blue again. Well, Hayden, there are no right colors. There's right values, but whatever you use is going to be the right color. That takes a little bit of stress off you, doesn't it? And I'm just throwing in color just as fast as I can. I'm just going to keep doing this until I'm happy with it. And I can concentrate on values, textures. But over the top of all those colors, I'm just going to keep going until it's as dark and nice as I want it. My favorite part of the turkey, the leg. So there is a red brown that's called mahogany. I think I'm going to do quite a bit of this with the mahogany and see if I can't get some of those textures back out. Now, if I hit some of that blue with this mahogany, it's okay. It'll turn kind of a brown purple, which is totally okay. I try to get some of those textures back in there. I'm going to go over the brown, the blue, or not brown, the blue, the orange, the black with this mahogany. I'm just going to get a variety of colors. Maybe some yellow. There's quite a bit of yellow in there. That yellow is going to brighten it up. It's going to make it pop. It's going to also get it nice and warm. Over the top of the red, it's going to turn orange, and that mahogany over the blue, it's going to turn green. That'll just warm it right up. I'm just scribbling it in. I mean, I'm not really trying to be precise here. Last but not least, I'm going to do purple again. So I started out with purple. I'm going to end with purple. And I want that purple to kind of mix with everything that's underneath there. Whether it's red or blue or yellow. I'm going to try to get that texture back into it with that purple. And it'll give me reds, it'll give me grays, it'll give me browns. Before you go, we need some green in there too. So I'm just going to throw some green in the back, in the ground here. Just a few. And I might throw some in the turkey. Red and green make brown. So if you go over some of the red with that green, it'll give it kind of a funky brownish kind of color. A good spot for your signature would be right to the very back of him, right back in there somewhere. Thanks for drawing with me today. Hopefully this has changed your attitude a little bit towards color and color drawing. Hope you have a nice day, a lovely weekend.